We had in our house, we had an iron mic. You know what that is, like the two wheels.
Oh, so we called the blue thing an iron mic. That's the big one, like the batting. That's what we used to call that an iron mic. Maybe it's the same company.
We had the two-wheel one because we had a batting cage in our backyard for 3 years, and Michael still never learned how to hit. It's wild.
So he was a pitcher, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it sucked. I mean, I feel so bad. I know my dad's not gonna listen to this, but like, he fucking put that thing back there. And Nick, I'm not lying. Like I may have went back there like 25 times, and that's it over 3 years. I was just like, because you can't like pitch to yourself, so I was always just like, all right.
It's literally my dream. We had a perfect little like runway in the back where it could have gone. Like I would have done anything to.
We had a batting cage, and then we also on the side of the house had like a mound, like just a pitching. Awesome. But it wasn't a mound. It was flat. Because we were like in middle school at the time, but then in the back you had the attempt mound and thing.
Speaking of parents, I on Tuesday I forgot my iPad at home, and that's how we do all of our scorebook and everything, you know.
Yeah.
So I and since we're the olds, this is even worse. I called my mom to see if she was like could like drop it off somewhere or whatever. She was excited. She was going to be in the area by school. So she's like, yeah. And I poke my head in, I walk out of the school and go get it from her, and she's listening to Last Ep. And she just looks at me and goes, I do care still, just so you know.
About Lester?
No, about us cursing.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that was it.
I just go, thanks. See ya.
Do you guys do like, is it still written scorebook?
I do both. We have it's Game Changer app is incredible.
Yeah. That came out like right when I was in high school.
I use a hard book too, like the old school book, because we have 3 managers and they're great kids, but dude, they screw up like all the time, like a lot. And some things you can't fix really. So I brought 2 of them in preseason and put a baseball game on YouTube and put it up on the projector and made them score it. Like practice games, like this is stupid, and then they're like, "Wait, what are we supposed to do?" Like I'm like, "This is why you're here right now," because I spent an hour the other night fixing it. Like
I'm not gonna lie, keeping a baseball scorebook might as well be on the same tier as like cursive writing. Like in not even 10 years, people will not know how to do it.
The NAFTA podcast.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Episode 55 NAFTA podcast. We're back, and by we're, it's me and Nick. It's the potting of the olds on the podcast for sure. Dylan is again killing his liver in Arizona, I'm assuming. Probably a couple beers deep by now, hopefully. And then Michael, I will shout him out. He is finally done with pharmacy school. Just got to pass his test. So gave him the day off, you know? You got to be a benevolent leader. And he earned it. So it's just me and Nick. Nick, how you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just enjoying the one off day this week. You know, we had 4 games this week. We have one more tomorrow, so it's a nice practice day. Finally get to relax a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell that you've been playing. There's a little difference between both of us here on the pod. I have a crustache, and Nick has definitely seen some sun. That's all I'll say.
The sunglasses, the sunglass line is starting to. I guess because my hat covers with some of the lighting, but it's starting to show.
Hey, what kind of sunglasses do you wear out there?
I got the Oakley the M frames. Okay. So they're like the normal, like they kind of come down along your cheekbone line. Yeah. Well, no.
If you're watching the video, I just popped on my shades and they're like pretty sick.
They like go up towards like your temple, kind of like they're athletic ones, and The kids all wear those what do they call them? What are those, like kind of like what you have, but what's the real name? They're like
Oh, it's a whole brand, right?
yeah, I like to call them hater blockers just to kind of annoy them, but they're called pit vipers. Pit vipers.
Pit Vipers, yeah.
And
they do look like this.
my third baseman and my shortstop had them on, and my the first game of the year, and my mom comes to the first game, and I call her. We get drilled. It's the number 1 team in the state. Didn't go well, as kind of unfortunately expected. And I call her after, like, what'd you think? Is there anything good? Did you saw or whatever? She goes, this, that. She goes, and your left side of your infield has some of the dumbest sunglasses I've ever seen. I go, Barb, it's called drip. That's what they call it these days, Ma. It's called drip.
So I don't want to I don't want to snitch on them, and I don't know this for a fact. Are they like? I don't think Pit Vipers are like UV blocking sunglasses. Like I think they're like kind of cheap, aren't they? Or
I have no idea. Maybe I'll try them on tomorrow. I'll ask for a pair. But I mean, I got maybe it's the old man in me. I got my Oakleys are polarized, and the whole.
So you wear your sunglasses for the reason that they're created. Interesting.
Well, yes, because I do have some issues with eyes, and when I get too much sunlight, my eyes get sunburned. It's wild. So I look like I'm high if I don't wear sunglasses outside too long. So
weak eyes, a Tucker trait maybe.
Maybe I got the eyes. Dylan got the hair color.
Yeah. Dylan wears it decently though. I mean, he's salt and pepper now a little bit. It's not even that much.
You should have seen the COVID Q-tip. That thing was, not only was it he had a Q-tip, but it was like scraggly grays. He kind of looked like Cosmo Kramer, but like salt and pepper.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of awesome. Alex documented. She has photos of like his hair because you couldn't get your hair cut forever.
Wow. Yeah. So Alex Tucker II, also known as Dylan's wife, I will text her right now to see if I can get some evidence of long-haired Dylan. Sick. Well, since it's just us two, we might as well do a Manchester takeover. We're recording Thursday. We got bad news on one side of Manchester, good news on the other side. I got you to talk a little bit before we jumped on about it, but United crashes out of the Europa League, 3-0 loss to Sevilla. The one thing I will say is, as someone who half pays attention to Sevilla, this is not that good of a team at all this season. And we were talking about how there's definitely some blame to go around today, but what I wanted to ask you is, for next season, I think the holes are pretty evident, and where you're going to plug them and what you guys are going to do is something that I'm sure people want to know. So we can start with your thoughts in general, and then I think we'll transition into, all right, I think a striker is number 1 on the list here to at least help Rashford out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, quick about the game. Again, I unfortunately I was at practice, but before we got out, I caught some highlights and some videos, and looking at the stats, this is like Ole's United, where your team sits back and can't, 60% possession, 16 shots, just can't happen. Unacceptable. The goals were egregious. I think is offending the word egregious. But it just opens. You said, what's the future? It opens up the questions of what do we. De Gea is getting a new contract probably in the next 10 to 14 days. So it's all right. Maybe you deal with him for another year, but you make a signing or you make a move to kind of compete with them, and maybe you blend them in and out next year. So we definitely need a goalkeeper, and I say that with the utmost respect for De Gea. He's literally kept us in Europe and in top 4, and literally stood on his head to win us games. But I think it's starting to become time. We need a true third center back, and if I have to right now pick one of the two, I'm picking Lindelof 8 days a week. Because Harry Maguire, it was in reality it was Manchester United 2, Harry Maguire 3, Sevilla 1,
yeah.
2,
1,
2.
I'd give it 1.
Because it was 5. They lost 5-2.
True.
So,
yeah.
But He's just a joke. I don't even care if we don't get anything for him. Just get his ass. I'll buy his fucking plane ticket. Like, you and your big ass fucking head can get the hell out of Manchester. And then we obviously need a striker. I think the biggest problem, none of this gets solved. I don't know if you saw the recent news with the sale that's going on. Glazers aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
you were telling me they're just selling off like small portions of shares essentially.
I think either they're trying to drive up the price of the Sheik, or trying to get to that $6 billion, or they're gonna stay in it just to kind of. I think it's all mind games at this point, because if they stay, it's gonna be so bad. So all of this hinges, unfortunately, on that, which won't be done by the summer window, which is just gonna make it worse. So yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think that a couple teams are at that point right now. I think honestly, you and Liverpool are probably kind of in the same boat, where if FSG isn't gonna sell or doesn't sell before the summer, they already said they're not gonna get Jude. I just don't see where there's gonna be any signing there. And then with you guys as well, there's just two holes, and you hit on both of them. I think that you have a top-class quality striker ready, willing, and able to go to United in Harry Kane. And if that gets fumbled, my God, that's just going to be the worst for you guys.
And as much as I would like to get, and I'm blanking on his name from Napoli right now,
Oshiman?
Yeah, I would love to get him, but I think we're at a point right now where we're going to overspend to get someone who's proven. Not that I'm not saying he can't play in the Premier League. I'm sure he can, but you're paying a premium because you know that this individual, Harry Kane, can play. He's obviously Harry Kane's not leaving England. He wants that Premier League record. Whether he stays at Tottenham or he goes somewhere, he's not leaving. United's got to overspend because they're going to have to. So I think a striker's number one. I'm going to make the argument that a young Declan Rice-ish, not Declan Rice specifically, but a younger true DCM, a true six, because Casemiro and Eriksen are, I mean, those two and Bruno are unreal together. But they're not getting any younger. You need someone, and you don't have to throw them into the mix right away. So someone that can learn, someone that's ready to play, but they don't have to be the star. But we need another center back, and at least if you get the striker, Rashi can play on the left. Antony can play on the right, and I don't know, and maybe Tony mixes in on the wings. But Sancho was, everything I read, he was just useless. And he's just, I don't know what his deal has been. So,
yeah.
I mean, but again, sorry.
I was going to say, no, you're good. I was going to say, it's really interesting. You guys are building from where a baseball team does. Any baseball team that's good up the middle is usually pretty good. Yep. You're basically saying the same thing. And he's a striker, a CDM, a center back. Look, I have my opinions on De Gea. I think he makes some goofy decisions at times. He's not a play with your feet keeper. Has never been. It's always been his big critique. But he's 32. I do think if you're able to find someone that can do a better job for you, maybe you should. But I think you're absolutely right. If you got to focus on two places, I'd even do striker and center back, or striker and CDM. I just don't think there's as many CDMs, and I think West Ham's going to be asking for the house, the boat, and the second marriage.
He's got two. I think he still has, after this year. I think he still has 2 more years.
2. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, he does. De Gea is still a great. He's one of the best shot stoppers in the world, as a pure shot stopper. And he's gotten better with his feet, which is still not saying much. But he has this year definitely gotten much better, coming off his line much better. But I don't know. We'll see, man. But it's not panic mode. We'll find a way. The schedule isn't. When we get into some of the predictions this week, we'll see some of the games that can bounce our way. A little bit of luck, but we'll limp our way across. But I mean, we are quite literally hurting. We got to make it. If we got to make it to the FA, we got to win Sunday, and then I'll feel like, all right, not a bad first. Even if we don't win FA Cup, top 4, 1 trophy, just don't put Sevilla in anything that we play anymore, and like we'll be fine. Like sure, it's a beautiful city, but like they can.
It is.
They can go shove it right now. I don't care.
It's wild. Real Madrid in the Champions League and then Sevilla in the Europa League. There's just something about it. I agree. I do think as a first year for Ten Hag, you got to kind of sit there and be pretty pumped with what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Even though this happened, like I think you're good to go. On the other side, I'll bring it up.
Treble winners.
God, stop. Everyone's saying it too. Every time I listen to a podcast, that's what this entire week's been about is can we win the treble? And someone brought up a good point. I forget which one I was listening to, but they were like, look, I know it's in their hands, but say we're going to go into that Arsenal game this next weekend. And if Arsenal wins at the weekend, we're still 7 points behind them, technically. I know we got then 2 games in hand, essentially, or a game in hand, whatever. But it's wild. And if Arsenal gets anything out of that game, it's like back on. I do think it's a win-out scenario. It definitely not lose-out scenario in the Premier League for that. And then you got to hope that we're going to beat Sheffield United. All signs point to that shouldn't be a worry of mine. I think hopefully he's actually going to rotate the side too, and Holland will actually maybe get a day off. But it looks like, Flopland. It does look like it'll probably be us, and then whoever wins you or Brighton, that'll be a good game. I don't want to write Brighton off at all. And
Especially
the FA
with the
Cup
defense,
final.
especially with the defense we got right now.
For sure. I think that's definitely for sure. And I think, honestly, too, if you're going to play offensively like you did where it's Rashford or nothing, it's feast or famine there as well.
Quick little tweak about it, since I'll probably forget this later when we bring it up. I think Ten Hag will put Luke Shaw at left center back and Malacia at left back. And play Lindelof right center back.
Okay. Interesting.
That's what I would do.
How long is Martinez out?
He got surgery. He's done till next year. He got a fifth whatever.
Metatarsal.
Where's Michael when we need him? Like I don't know these freaking names.
Exactly. So Premier League, FA Cup.
Oh,
they are what they are.
Question for you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Since you're gonna win the treble, if you had to choose to lose one, if one you said you had to lose, which one? All right, timeout. I already know the answer. FA Cup, shit.
Yeah.
If you had to only pick one to win, that's a better way to phrase it. Which one would you?
Yes.
Which one would you win?
Well, I'm glad Michael's not on the podcast. I do think that I personally want to win a Champions League for sure, right? I had this epiphany though while I was walking my dog yesterday, and I'm sitting there and I'm going to acknowledge that this is coming from an extreme place of fandom privilege for me to say this.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a part of me that kind of told myself, if we win the Champions League, how much time do we have left with Pep then?
Oh, I say 1 year.
And I think I don't want to know that world yet.
I do.
Like I'm holding on.
I'm cool. I'm okay with that.
I know everyone on the pod is okay with that. But for me, Nick, I was walking Josie, and I'm literally contemplating what it will be like when we lose 5 games in a year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just in a season. It's going to suck. I'm not used to that.
You know what it's like? You are King Edward the Seventh. Okay. You are living in you have it. You're the king. Life's great. Yeah. You love floozying around with a bunch of other people. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, it's all taken away because you can't have what you can't have. And then you finally get it. You get the woman you want. You get the UCL.
Yeah.
But then you get kicked out of the British Kingdom and all the cool stuff that you want. And now it's gone.
And I think that's exactly what I'm feeling. I think as soon as we win the Champions League, if we don't win the treble, especially if we win the treble, I think that Pep might do like a final year in the Premier League and get to do essentially like a Derek Jeter had this. Didn't Bernie Williams also, or like Mariano Rivera, like went to all the stadiums and they gave him a gift. I think Big Papi did it too. Like I could just see this type of tour for Pep. Be like, oh, this is my farewell tour, and then next thing you know, hopefully he's coaching like the U.S. men's national team or whomever. But I think he's gone, and I don't know if I'm a big enough man to know how to deal with that yet. I'm being honest.
Well, first off, I just want to correct as this history major. Edward VIII. I apologize to all those Brits out there that are listening. I know you're very sensitive about your king that abdicated for some tail.
Yeah.
Anyway, and an American one, classic, like very 1776 of him.
Hit it and quit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think you make some really great points. I'm going to go even further to say that if he wins the UCL and comes back to win the league and just wins a double,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I would like to make the argument that this might have to be his greatest accomplishment in English football, because he did win the treble with Barca, I think, in 08-09. So obviously, but I don't know that season off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure that's the season that Messi scored 75 goals in a school, or 91 goals in a calendar year.
Not a flop.
Yeah, not a flop. Like, clearly, Holland, get your shit up. But I think that he's gonna be like, look at what I did. Like what else can you do? He ran it. He won it running away. He won it toe to toe, and he'll possibly win it from 7 points back with 13 to play or something like that, which is an absurd thing. A collapse has happened once, and there wasn't even a good speech this time.
Yeah, very true, very true. I also think too, like, what does he do next though? Like, if I was him, I'm retired. I don't care anymore. And I think there's also a portion of him that's like, hey, if I can get out of here before some of these allegations come to fruition, better for me too. Like the FFP stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Pep wins it, leaves. You guys go down to League One. Like, yeah. God, talk about needing a therapy session. Like,
dude, I will be so obsessed with community football at that point. I'll be sitting there going to Gillingham and going to everywhere. I would Leighton Orient. Let's do it.
You're going to become exactly what you hate then. Just know that you are going to become exactly what you hated your whole football fandom life. Just know that. When this ends, when Pep ends, you will become every Manchester United fan the last 10 years. Just know that.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. So two different worlds. Extreme vulnerability on my side here, talking about Pep leaving, and then United, I think, a couple pieces away from the first time Pep won it. You guys came in second, right? No.
In what year?
What is it? 2013 or 2023 is right now. It would have been 2017. Does that make sense?
That we came in second?
I feel like you guys came in second the first time you won it. This is showing our whole American ass right now.
2012, we came in second. That was your
mind.
first year. 2014, we came in seventh. That was David Moyes, you ungrateful Scottish bastard. We came in fifth in 2016. We came in sixth 2017. God damn.
Yeah.
We came in second 2018. That was the Centurion year, right? That was when Jose, God, who knows, he was correct.
Yep. Yeah.
Best team I've ever coached. Best coaching job ever.
The one thing I did want to bring up too, because this is not a pod without getting at least one Tottenham shot in. I did see a really great TikTok that said, hey, I can prove that Tottenham is one of the greatest clubs in the world. If you look at Pep Guardiola, every time that he has coached an entire season at any club, Barca, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, he's always finished first or second, except for one season. The first season at Man City, they finished third. Chelsea finished first. And Tottenham is the only team to ever finish above Pep Guardiola in a season and not win the league.
Oh, wow. Sam's Army should make a banner about that.
It's a wild stat. The only team to ever beat Pep and not win the league.
Wow.
Insane.
Oh, wow.
With that said, let's get into this week's predictions. Full slate of games, except for, or actually I should say, not a full slate of games. We got the FA Cup semis as well this weekend. But let's go ahead and dive in. First game of the week is tomorrow. It's Arsenal versus Southampton. Arsenal is still top of the table, 74 points. Southampton's bottom of the table, 23 points. David and Goliath. Who do you got in this one, Nick?
This has got to be the Arsenal, right? They can't go up 2-0 and tie again, can they?
I will say,
Or
I'm not a confident man, but if that happens, we won the league.
or it's a James Ward-Prowse swan song. He scores 2 free kicks to tie the game, to tie Beckham, and to take Beckham's record, and it's the last free kick he scores in the Premier League. Because he pulls a Jamie Vardy and says, Southampton, I love you, I'm loyal, and I'll just go with you. I'll bring you back up, and he never comes back up.
I love that. I would love that world. I got Arsenal, unfortunately.
I got Arsenal. Yeah, we got Arsenal.
All right.
Yeah.
Good deal. First game Saturday, Fulham hosting Leeds. Fulham sitting in 10th with a big win over Everton, 3-1 without Mitrovic in the last match. And then Leeds, 2 losses on the bounce, getting outscored 11-2. Not good times in Leeds. Who you got, Nick?
I think Leeds is just the medicine that Fulham ordered. So
yeah.
I'm a Mitrovic-less Fulham, I think, takes this down relatively easily. Sorry, Joshy, if you're listening.
Yeah, I got Fulham too. Leeds just all-time bad defense past 2 years. Just incredible. I'm really hoping Fulham pulls out top 10. I think that'd be a great story for them.
Yeah.
Brentford hosting Villa. Aston Villa is on an absolute tear. Unai Emery is one of the best coaches or having one of the best runs as a coach in the Premier League, kind of all time. And Brentford, as we know, Thomas Frank, very, very good coach. They have lost 3 straight, though. Villa in 6th, Brentford in 9th. I'm going with Villa. I can't bet against them at this point. What about you?
Yeah, I'm on the Villa train. Like I've said it all year. I want chaos, except for when it happens to Manchester United, and I say that in a moment when it's nothing but chaos. Yep. Yeah, I want some disruption in who's in Europe. You know, like Villa, and I think there's no better manager of a club to lead a, while historic yet mid-table club into Europe than the man at the helm right now, and that would be a really cool story to see.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable. Shout out to Unai. Palace hosting Everton. Everton, as we said, lost to Fulham, but have lost 2 straight now. And Palace, on the other hand, talk about really great Premier League coaches, outscoring their opponents 9-2 since Hodgson's been back, 3 straight wins. I think he gets his 4th. I got Palace in this one. Nick, what about you?
Not so fast, my friend.
Ooh.
This is, I believe, to confirm, yes, this is my first draw of the week. I think Sean Dyche finds a way to kick out the cane that Roy Hodgson probably has hidden underneath his blanket that he walks to the bench with. That was a terrible attempt to try to bring Michael's jokes into Roy Hodgson into here, so I apologize. I don't apologize. It's authentic me. Yeah, I'm going with the draw. I think Everton squeaks it out because they're staying up.
Love it. Sean Dyche, just I love him. You love him. Michael doesn't like him, but it's one of those things. Like I wore an Everton hat today when I was walking Joe, just because I have one.
What?
Yeah, just I wanted to feel some Dyche vibes. I had a soccer game last night. We were down 2 goals. I kept yelling at people, "Let me ping it into the box. Let's just get a good bounce. Let's get it in." I was playing some Dyche ball last night. No one really knew what the fuck I was talking about, but I was playing some Dyche ball last night for sure. Battle of the Zoo, the Foxes versus the Wolves. Leicester, again, all-time bad right now. And Wolves, on the other hand, 2 straight wins over Brentford and Chelsea, not giving up a goal. I'm going to make Dylan happy, or maybe this will make Dylan sad. I'm going with Wolverhampton on this one. It's at Leicester, but who do you got in this one?
Oh, man. No one's going to like me, no matter what I pick. You know,
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Can I plead the 5th or abstain? You know, I don't know.
Just don't cuss.
Don't cuss. I picked up. I'm gonna go with the Wolves. Yep. I'm gonna go with the Wolves. I think that unfortunately, Mother, the Foxes are. I think they're only playing. But shit, I was trying to make a "what did the Fox say" joke. Didn't work. I think they're going down. So sorry, bud.
I think to one up that, like the traditional garb that English countryside men wear on a fox hunt.
Yeah.
I think the cover of this episode will be that with Dylan's face on it, with a little fox next to him. I think that'd be a great cover.
Q-tip.
That's what we're gonna do.
Q-tip. Need a Q-tip one.
Still waiting for the artist formerly known as Alex Howe to perjure her boyfriend and send me these pics. So we'll see what happens there.
If not, I've got plenty of embarrassing photos of Dylan that we could use too.
Love that. All right, Liverpool hosting Forest. Liverpool coming off of a big win against Leeds, 6-1, 2 draws before that, and then Forest getting a point, only 1 point in their last 5. I think if we had Michael on the pod right now, he would be telling you that there's a little bit more hope to get into the Europa League spots for Liverpool now after this last week. I'm pretty sure he'd still tell you you're nuts to think that they maybe sneak into 4th. I think that's right as well. But he needs a win here. They split last season, hard enough to believe as it is. I got Liverpool. It's at Anfield. There's no way Forest comes away with a point at Anfield. No way possible. So I got Liverpool in this one.
Yeah, I think Liverpool's going to find their way into. I think Liverpool finds their way into the top 6. Spurs are going to be in the Conference League. It's just going to happen.
Hey, I think at this point it's death taxes in the Conference League for Spurs. Is it 2 straight years? 3 straight years, maybe? 2 out of 3?
2 out of 3.
West Ham's in it right now, yeah. That might be the new reality there. Speaking of a team that's staying up, and the team that is in the Conference League, Bournemouth is going to host West Ham. First game on Sunday. The Michael B. Jordan Bournemouth Cherries have won 2 straight. West Ham has looked tough. They beat Ghent 4-1 today to make sure that they're moving on. But with that said, West Ham's still in 15th, Bournemouth in 14th, battle at the bottom. This is a game that I think if you're Dylan and you're still got some inside of you worrying about getting relegated, you're hoping for a draw. Unfortunately, I think I got West Ham in this one. I think Moyes is poised to have a decent run at the end of the season to kind of salvage his job, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I think that he's going to find a way to keep them up. I got a draw here. I think that they'll both kind of just it's going to take a while for them to feel each other out. West Ham might have some tired legs because they're going to have to play their best 11 out there again. Mm-hmm. So I feel that they'll at least look to sit back at least the first 45 minutes, and I feel like it's going to be. I think this has got incredibly boring 0-0 written all over it. Like this has got why did I just watch paint dry on my television for 90 minutes?
Yeah, I could definitely see that as well. I'm gonna stick with Moisey. I actually like the guy. Didn't screw my team up.
Yeah, so. I freaking hate him. It's his fault. The last 10 years, all his fault.
Last game in the Premier League, Newcastle hosting Tottenham. Tottenham just lost to Bournemouth. Newcastle just lost to Villa. Before that, though, Newcastle was kind of back on track, got on a pretty decent run. This is at Newcastle. I think St. James Park is going to be baby Anfield kind of moving forward, especially you got the fans back into it. Nick, who do you got in this one?
I think this is where Newcastle starts to cement themselves as a top 4. I think this, and this is what's going. It's going to put a Newcastle win puts them 6 points clear with a game in hand. It puts United 6 points clear with 2 games in hand. So I think a win here because Newcastle's obviously started to figure out how to score again. I think Newcastle essentially cements the top 4, whatever order that comes in. Obviously, we know the 1-2 combo and the 3-4 combo, whatever that looks like. Mm-hmm. But I think then this puts the 5, 6, 7 on alert more than the 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, a lot of numbers there. I followed a decent amount of it, but I do know that if Newcastle wins this game, they're one step closer to top 4, and that's what I think is going to happen. So I got Newcastle. Just put it in layman's terms for everyone there, for sure. All right, FA Cup. Both of our teams are in it. It's a semifinals. It's fair to say City got a little bit nicer of a draw here than United. Saturday, we will be taking on Sheffield United. The last time that we played Sheffield, it was a 1-0 win. It was that way for the last 3 times. They always play us tough. We haven't lost to them in forever. It's at the Etihad. Or no, it's at Wembley. Jesus, I'm sorry. It's at Wembley. I got City, obviously. Nick, do you got any surprises? You going blading?
Yeah, there's no pun there. It's just going to be straightforward. There's nothing I can take a stab at.
Yeah.
So there it is. Just comes to you. When you don't try, it just shows up. This is got City. You got to think Pep's secretly thinking treble, so he's going to come out and get them all jacked up. Fuck the Reds. We're going to be the only ones. And let's just dice them up.
You're you're needling at these jokes a little bit too much. All right, we both got City, Brighton, and United the next day at Wembley as well. That turf's gonna be kind of fucked up for you guys, to be honest.
Harry Maguire's forehead is fucked up for us. It doesn't really matter.
But it is the battle of your Tucker household, actually. Brighton and Man United. Last time you guys played, Brighton 1-2-1. Time before that, Brighton 4-0. But then you got them 2 times before that. Pretty even match over the past couple of years. Obviously, United's won 9 and Brighton's won 4 over the last 20 or so. But I think it'll be tough. This is a tough team to play, especially in a knockout game. Who you got?
Yeah. Well, I will be at the bar by myself for the first half. Caroline has a nail appointment until 11:45 or 12.
That's really good news for me because I said that and you made a face and I was like, if they broke up, I'm gonna feel real bad right now.
That can get real awkward.
Yeah.
Don't worry, she doesn't listen this deep into the episode anyway. She really listens for Dylan's jokes.
Love it. Okay.
But yeah, no, they so she's going to the nail appointment, and I said I'd save her a receipt, and I go, you better show. I bought you this Brighton jersey. We're going to be that couple at the bar.
There it is.
She loves to talk shit, dude. She will. They score a goal. She'll have no idea what's going on, and she'll just turn and go, "Oh yeah, in your face," she'll get into it. She'll high five. She'll probably high five someone next to her because they'll probably all love her. I'm the United guy.
Yeah.
I am. As I said earlier in the app, you got to put Luke Shaw at center back and only let one of those two, and it should be Lindelof play. This has got extra time. I got to think hopefully maybe United pulls this out because of experience. I am not saying that confidently at all, by the way. I'm going to go with United.
I actually think that I brought up the field. I feel like with Maguire back there, you're one bad bounce away from maybe putting a beer through a TV.
Or taking Jameson shots at 12 o'clock on a Sunday.
Hey, that's not that bad.
We've done worse things. Done worse things in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want the Hollywood of Manchester Derby in the FA Cup final. So I'm gonna go with Man United.
Yeah, and just by the way, if that happens, it's gonna be a absolute slaughter. That's gonna be we should play with a back five. We should play with a back five with the 2 center backs that we have.
I think that one of the tricks that Pep has learned with Haaland is if you watched any of the Champions League game or saw any of the highlights, that poor Upamecano guy for Bayern was just a slower center back, was definitely their Achilles heel, and what ended up happening was Haaland made every run off of him. and it was abuse. It was quite. We were watching abuse in those 2 legs of the match, and I think that when you have a team that might be thin at center back or might just have a center back that's a touch behind, that's where Holland's going to just sit there and try to blow past him and get a couple through balls that way.
And Harry Maguire is going to go Terry Tate office linebacker on him too at some point.
Well, that's what happened in the Bayern game. Luckily for Bayern, Holland was offside, but he got the through ball put through, and McConnell just took him out. He got the red card right away. And I just know Slabhead is prone to that too. Harry Maguire wouldn't touch the field if I was the United coach on this one.
Dude, if it does happen, if they play, like, I might not watch, like, because I don't want to put myself through that type of emotional damage, like, to see it happen for the second time by City all year, and then add in the Liverpool drubbing, like, that's a lot to consume.
Is Maguire's usefulness
No.
for United?
None.
Hold on, hear me out. Is his usefulness for United best used as, like, if you guys are tied or if you're down 1 late in the game, maybe put him at, like, a wing position and just lock the balls in?
He is a significantly more expensive, less effective Mario Fellaini.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like, but has he been being used all wrong? Is he a defensive winger, maybe? And you just, like, you toss the balls in.
Is he Chad Johnson, Hail Mary, throw him up there? Yeah. Like, it's not. He did it once. Ten Hag did do it once earlier in the year, and my one friend texted me like, "What is going on?" I go, "I don't hate this idea." Like, it was him and McTominay was up from, because McTominay's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
And, like, I'm like, I don't hate this launching balls forward with those 2 guys there.
It's kind of like when you're in middle school football and it's like no one can actually throw the ball, so the quarterback automatically becomes the fastest person on the team.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, get the ball and run. We're running a wing tee. Doesn't matter. Like, this is Harry Maguire playing wing for United is Ten Hag going wing tee time. We just need to loft balls up to the forehead, and let's see what happens.
He started watching some Sean Dyche How to Coach DVDs.
Well, dude, this is what I'm saying. If Dyche survives at Everton, you got someone that'll take Maguire. Because I think you give him some of that game tape. I think Ten Hag's best move would be sprinkling in some Maguire up top, winging, and then just slide it over to Dyche in the offseason. And Dyche's like, I've been looking for this striker my whole life. I think that's a reality that we got to live in.
I'm so okay with that. Let Everton burn all their money.
Hey, let's do it. All right, so we both got a Manchester derby for the FA Cup final. We got nothing else left. You're not betting anymore. Dylan did his best last week. You got a joke?
Yeah, I got a joke. The joke is my betting account right now. That AI, I found that AI thing, Michael, that thing has been ice baby, man.
Hockey?
Everything. Just not great. And playoff hockey's so hard to bet, so I'm leaving. I might just let it sit. It needs to sit. I need some good vibes to come back.
Let it cool off. Let it cool.
Yeah. All right. So, what part of a soccer pitch smells the nicest?
Cool.
The center spot. Cheers.
The NAFTA podcast.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.